Hello and welcome to Post-Burnout.com interviews. Post-Burnout.com is a culture website dedicated to venerating burnt-out artists the world over. My name is Aaron Kavanagh and I'm the website's founder and editor-in-chief. This is our website's podcast where we publish the full interviews from our site's articles and sometimes release exclusive episodes. In this edition of Post-Burnout.com interviews, Tristan, Carroll and Niall Carroll of the Dublin-based new metal band Cell Games join us to discuss their debut EP, You've Not Heard These Songs Before. Why it took almost 2 years to make it, how Niall joined the band, how their sound changed as a result, their plans for 2026, and much more. You can see Cell Games live tomorrow at Jacob's Venue in Dublin. That's December 19th, depending on when you're listening to this. They're going to be performing with friends of the show, Shallow, as well as Dux Ect Rex. I fucked that up. I'm so sorry. It's a really hard name to say. On December 27th, 2 days after Christmas, they're going to be performing in Belfast for the first time. That'll be at the Xmas Aftermath 3 at the Limelight 2. In May, they're planning on touring the UK. At the moment, the only date they've mentioned was at the Call of the Wild Festival in Lincoln. At the moment, I don't know which date they're performing, but that festival takes place between the 28th to the 30th of May, so just go for the entire weekend. Tickets for all of those shows are available in the description of this episode. Thank you very much and enjoy. Hey, now how's it going? You alright? Oh.
Hello,
Hey, now how's it going? Is
I'm
it
good.
just us or others joining as well?
I think Tristan is going to come along. I think you're saying he might
Perfect.
be a little bit late. I'm
Yeah,
not
that's grand.
sure.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I could actually just start by
Sure.
asking you some questions because I know you're the latest member in Cell Games. So
I am
I
indeed.
was wondering if maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you joined the band.
Yeah, so I joined in October of 2024. So Tristan's girlfriend Jade is friends with my husband, and when Cell Games were looking for a drummer, my husband had said, "Here, I know this band. Are you still looking to play in a band?" Because so as I had been playing in a band prior to the pandemic, and then obviously, that led us to kind of splitting up, and we never really got back together. I hadn't really played with anyone for about 4 years at that stage. And I was like, yeah, I definitely want to. So um, my husband let Jade know and let Tristan know, I guess. And here we are, I kind of sent on bits of material, my previous recordings, some videos I had to pull out of, the dark dusts of a video archive to find videos of me playing and did the audition.
Was it all
It
like
was
240p like old like recordings like where you could barely hear
some
everything
of
or
them were 360,
okay.
back in the day, but the more recent ones I've been kind of doing flirting with the idea of doing, like YouTube drum covers back around like 2016, 2017. So I had some of those lurking around a channel. But I had very little of me playing live just because it never really was occurred to me to set up a camera while I was playing. So, but I think they got the gist anyway, of my playing, and they sent me on the kind of the SoundCloud of all of their songs at the time with the click tracks because Sound Games plays with backing tracks as part
Mhm.
of the music. So playing with a click track, and I had to learn them, but. I was actually going on holidays when they sent me them. So they originally had planned it to be, I think it was in September, and I was like, lads, I'm going to Amsterdam, so I won't be able to do it. Can we do it the week after? And they're like, yeah, grand, that's no problem. And it was supposed to be, I think it was supposed to be the Saturday, uh, but I got a text I remember from Tristan as I was in Amsterdam airport leaving, and goes, "Hey, one of the drummers we've been looking at has decided to pull out. Would you be available on Wednesday?" Now, I had not listened to a note of music yet because I was like, "I'm gonna have a week, it's fine." And so I was scrambling like in the airport, like, great, I gotta get these listened to now. And then the Tuesday and the Wednesday came along and we did the audition and here we are.
Are you a procrastinator? Because I definitely am.
It was more so I think the case of like being a procrastinator, but also going like I have this kind of at least I'm sure plenty of other musicians have this ability as well, but like I have this ability of going like if I listen to something enough, it just kind of like ingrains itself into me. And I found out afterwards from Jade that because they can see on SoundCloud, how many listens, uh,
Right.
they're like, oh, there's this one guy who's like been listening to Lament Configuration like 120 times or something like that. And I was like, that was probably me. And I think they said it was me. It's from my username or whatever. I don't know how with SoundCloud you can see who exactly is listening to what, but um, yeah, I definitely listened to. I think I only listened to the Cell games for 2 or 3 days before the audition, and then that's how I've always learned music. Uh, is just I'm going to listen to it until it becomes part of me, and then it was just a case of
Yeah.
getting in the room is very different to listening to a song and playing it by yourself.
Yeah. Had you been familiar with cell games prior to Jade reaching out to your husband?
Not familiar with cell games, but I had been exposed to Tristan and Colin's cover band, Phoenix Park, prior to that. Unknowingly, I think it was in 2023, I went to a Halloween party in the Workman's Club, and Phoenix Park were the band that were playing there.
Okay.
And once I figured out that it was them, I have a very distinct memory of just yapping with Tristan and Colin after the gig. And I think we all didn't realize that we've met each other prior to it, but I've seen them playing before, but in that capacity. I hadn't heard of Cell Games before this.
That's interesting, yeah, because like Ireland, you're always just like bumping into people. Like that stereotype is very true, where you're just like, oh yeah, I think we like met each
Honestly,
other
yeah.
like 5 years ago.
Yeah, like we played at Siege there last October, or this October gone rather, and it is literally this gathering of everyone in the metal community, and like seeing so many faces that I've gigged with over the years, and kind of go, oh my God, I haven't seen you in about 5 or 6 years. So it like not only you've the small worldness of Ireland, but the metal community in Ireland is even smaller. So like there's going to
Yeah.
be crossover with people that you didn't think you would at a stage.
Yeah, absolutely. You always see people at like shows and you're like, I know you. Like you just recognize their face a lot if you go to like a lot of shows and you're like,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. Being quite antisocial in real life, I'm kind of always a little timid to kind of go over to people and be like, hey, no, because then I know like if we don't get along, I'll be seeing them at like the next 12 gigs or whatever.
I know, literally, yeah, I think it is. I think definitely gigs I've gone to where I bumped into the same people that like I wouldn't see in any other capacity outside of being at that show, even if it's just going to
Yeah.
Fibbers.
Yeah, the Fibbers thing, yeah, it's quite beautiful because I tend to go to Fibbers a lot when I'm like just like hanging out, and it's just like nice seeing like how everyone kind of like knows each other. What's really interesting about Fibbers if you go to like the smoking area, just like the versatility in people there.
Oh, 100%. Like, which is now the smoking area is still there. It's a bit of a little bit of a shame. I think that it's been reduced down to what it is now. But like Fibbers to me is like such a great spot because it is there. There's all sorts of people there that you wouldn't think just from looking at them. Like I wouldn't imagine you'd being a big metalhead.
Yeah,
And it is just a place where you can go and hang out and there's no. I've always found Fibbers to be like a very welcoming place. You just go,
absolutely.
everyone's
Yeah,
there to
I
play pool, drink a few
yeah,
pints, listen to the metal,
and smoke something. It's always the
and
bang of
smoke.
weed
And
when you're
smoke.
in there.
Whatever you're smoking is your business then.
Yeah, if the management don't have a problem with it, neither do I. Tristan, how's it going, man? I was just getting Niall's biography here a little bit, so
Hi guys, I snuck in.
Hello, there you are.
yeah.
Hey, yeah, I'm
So
good. I'm good.
to catch you up, we were just talking about like how Niall joined the band. Now, could I just ask one more question just before we talk about this new EP? What was your kind of background? prior to this band? Like, what were your kind of influences? What were you like listening to, and what kind of like how long have you been playing drums?
Gosh,
Yeah, bunch
yeah,
of
where do we
like three
start?
questions in one there.
Yeah, no. So I've been playing drums since I was 18. So I'm 34 now, whatever the math works out in that, 17, 18 years or,
Yeah,
or so. I have always kind of been into music, but until I turned 17, I had no real interest in maybe playing an instrument, right? I kind of throughout the years, I would have gotten CDs from my parents and just listened to whatever was the rock, radio stuff until about 15 when I discovered Avenged Sevenfold and Bullet for My Valentine, and my brain just blew open. The
yeah,
solo from I think it was from Afterlife, is very specifically the music video, watching Kerrang and Skulls back in the day. Uh, and the music video for
Rest in peace,
Afterlife came
Squids. By the
on.
way, that didn't last very long.
Skulls.
Yeah, rest in peace, Squids. That didn't last very long,
Oh yeah, yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't like man Skulls for a while until I got a little older and I got more into like so it was heavier kind of like stuff. Skulls was the place to go. But yeah, that music video for Afterlife and the solo that Sinead Gates does in that song. At 15, I was like, what is this? So got into Bullet after that. I'd seen the video for not Waking the Demon. What was the other song that they had in that album? Scream Empire. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
like I got into them, and it's just been an escalation since then. My first concert I went to was Metallica in Marriott Park in 2007. Oh, no, 2008 rather, because that was the year I turned 18. And I just remember hearing the double kick of the drums, going, oh, I need to do that.
yeah.
So I hounded my parents for a drum kit for months, and my dad was like, "Oh, I don't know about that now. It'll be very loud, and we'll see, we'll see." And I woke up to a drum kit on my 18th. He was like, "Come out to the garage here, and we'll go get some things." And they had it set up for me, and yeah, it's just been playing from there. I've had a range of influences like since then. Metal is the primary influence, and I think. Maybe even though Cell Games is a new metal band, I'm more primarily influenced by like groove metal and progressive metal.
Yeah.
I'd be very into like Lamb of God, Machine Heads, but then it veers into like Dream Theater and Opeth and Gojira, So I think that comes out in my playing a lot is kind of more of I wouldn't call it technical. I wouldn't consider myself a technical drummer. I know some tricks, but I feel like those kind of like influences come out in my playing whenever I think about the bands I've listened to over time. But equally as well, like like I'm into more like the rock stuff, like Alter Bridge and Foo Fighters. So I'm happy playing in any band where I get to hit stuff. You know what I mean?
Tristan, for yourself, we've actually spoken. I don't know if you remember. We spoke probably. I think it was last May. I was looking into when we last spoke. It was when
Oh
the
yeah,
Optical
yeah,
World came out. Yeah.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
was wondering, like, between that time and now, like, what's changed for Cell Games? Obviously, you have the new drummer, new EP out. At the time, you were actually talking about like, we have this plan for an EP. But what was that kind of like? I guess year and a half like for Cell Games.
A year and a half of planning that EP.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we kind of the idea for the EP had kind of been in the works since around then. I think we had one more single like in between, but then we were like, oh,
Yeah.
we we want all our songs to sound the same now, because the first two singles we put out, there was no real drums. I was doing all the production. I was doing all the bass. I was doing like all the keyboard sounds on like cheap stuff. And I think even like the Make Configuration, the first single, it was when we were very at the start of the pandemic. We were like, oh, we have to be able to like do all this stuff live though. So like, it has to just be like maybe some guitar overdubs, but like just really straight ahead rock songs. And then a few months later, nothing was open, and it's like, nah, gigs aren't coming back. We can do keyboards, it's fine. Um, so we're like, obviously, we got more into
Yeah.
stuff sounding like that, and also like if you listen to the program drums on that, it's real obvious that like I don't know how to do drum fills. So like sections just kind of end and start, and I think I have like two drum fill tricks that I know that I put in sometimes, and they just pop up. But so like, but they like those songs were always in the set the whole time. Uh, and there was one other one that's like stayed in the set that was never like studio recorded, or like I know it's not a studio, it's my room, but like it was never properly like tracked everything separate. It was like you only had like a live-ish version of it. With people like
Yeah.
who weren't ever in the band. It was just like a sessions thing we did. It was like a proof of concept for Cell Games nearly. To be like, hey, look, it could be people in a room. So those three songs, like they were in the set the entire time, but online they didn't sound the same. Like the first one we did as a band was Here's to Your Bones, with Josh. And we've been going to Josh ever since. And there's a noticeable disparity between when Josh does it and I do it. So we're like, it doesn't sound the same. And even I think around the time Niall joined the band, um, I kind of went like, look, the Lament doesn't have any keyboards on it. It has to have keyboards on it. So like we went and like changed that. But we wanted to kind of do that with that EP for forever. I think we were going to do it like last autumn or thereabouts. Um, but then very suddenly we had no drummer. So I was
Yeah.
like, well, we can't really do that. So like, so we didn't. Um, so yeah, so like it was kind of like August-ish is when we didn't have a drummer, and we spent like September, October, I think, trying to get a drummer. Um, and we had the Siege of Limerick coming up, and I think like two or three people got on to me. It's like, "Can we have your spot?" I was like, "No, we're still doing it. Like someone's gonna play it. It'll be fine." And also, it's not up to us. Um,
Yeah.
but like in the interim, I don't know if I explained because I wasn't here. Um, we had
Although
someone
I
who
had
would
to let
agreed.
everybody go.
Oh no, okay. We had Nico. I don't know how to say his surname, and it left it too long to ask him again. Nico, who used to be, he's in Louvain now.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
and he like instantly was like, "Oh, yeah, I'll do the C for you," and I was like, "Deadly cool." And he was learning the set. And in the interim, um, like Niall had his audition, and I think even before the audition, I was like, "Oh man, I hope this guy can drum," because like this guy's real cool. I hope he can drum. I was like, I mean, even if he can't, we might just do it.
Yeah.
But then he showed up and he could, and it was great because he'd never gigged to a click before. But I sent him on SoundCloud a playlist of the set with the click just like absolutely blaring on top of it because that's what it would sound like at gigs. It's like we're playing the song as far as he knows, but there's just a click blaring in his ears. And I like had a look at the analytics on Spotify like the week of his audition, and there's like hundreds of plays on all these songs with the click. So it's like I think we're going to be okay. But obviously like we had to be like you're I think like months after that we're like, oh look, like you're in the band, but like Nico
Oh
is doing
yeah,
the stage.
this is funny. So, they kind of I had assumed this is part of the audition process more so than anything else.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, when we meet up again, we'll go through some things." I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, they must be interested in me. Let's bring this guy and see how it's going." And a couple of times after this thing, I remember going like, "So what's the crack? Like, am I in the band, or is this like oh we'll get you ready?" Because we had a gig coming up with Outcast in
Yeah.
December, but I kind of felt like maybe they're just going like, "We'll see how this guy does live now," and then but no, it was like Tristan turned around and was like, "Well, I've been saying to everyone that we found a drummer, but we haven't told you yet, I suppose."
Oh
So
yeah.
it's like two
What?
wallflowers kind of like
Yeah.
coquettishly checking with each other.
No, I think what it was partly was it would have been really confusing. Um, to before the gig at the Siege, where Nico had like learned the set and was going to do the gig, to like be like, "Oh, we got a new drummer," but it's not him, and
Yeah.
everyone be like, "Oh, okay, but what? Who's this then?" So I was like, we won't like announce officially we got a new drummer, even though like we kind of do. And I remember now what it was. The day of Niall's first audition, Deb, our bass player, she was in a car
Yeah.
crash,
Oh
and
shit.
yeah, so like her wife just messaged me like, "Hey, Deb's
Oh,
not
that
coming tonight." Yeah, she's like, "Deb's not coming tonight. She's in a car crash. She's fine, but she's not coming." I'm like, okay, that's fine. Um, so like,
that was the first time that that all four of us were actually in the room together.
yeah, because I was kind of saying to Deb, it's like, "Look, Deb, like we're gonna play with Niall, all four of us. Uh, he's in the band, but like you should probably meet him first. Um, and I was like, I think that was like a week before the siege or something. So like after the siege, we were like, good job, Nico. Niall's in the band though,
Yeah.
which is because like Nico couldn't commit to it. He had like I think he was just after leaving the band and about to join another one,
Yeah.
and he's from Chile, so he had like this whole kind of thing where his visa was up in the air, and he's like, I don't want to join any bands right now because my visa's up in the air. I don't want to like, yeah, I'll do it. Um, and they were like, that's fine, because Niall's in the band anyway. Yeah. So then with the EP, then um, we're still like, well, that's like the next big plan recording wise is the EP, and I think we had the artwork for the EP for nearly 2 years now.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's like songs that we've been playing for 2 years, and they're all like they're online in some form. Like two of them were singles, and one of them like we did release and it's out there, but they don't sound like that now. Like there's more stuff going on because like we just
Mhm.
to be kind of we've embraced having more stuff going on in the songs and there's key parts and like also like the songs are like they're different because we've been
Mhm.
playing them live different and like the drums are actual drum parts now and like it's actually a
Well,
band and it's not just me doing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, so like from my perspective on that, the way I approached it was so I suppose Let's Go to Therapy is the of the four of them is like brand new. So like that is
Yeah.
all me on that track. But the other tracks, like Lament Configuration had already been put out as a single, and the previous drummer had put his spin on that. And the Filthy Weight also had a live studio version where there was an actual drummer kind of playing it. I took kind of the skeleton of what those were because I did feel like those were kind of like cool grooves, and then just put my little bit of spice and inflection on that as well, and kind of like, especially like drum fills and stuff is kind of one of those opportunities where your own expression can come through, or like how you accent things, I especially with like the backing tracks, I've maybe not said this out loud to anyone else in the band, but I tend to find a hook in the song, whether it's like how Colin is singing a particular part, or maybe like the backing tracks have a particular accent in it, and find a way to complement those with the drum parts that like in my brain as I'm listening to them, I'm going, oh yeah, if I do this here, that will sound really cool. Like I think there's a couple of parts on Filthy Waste that it just so happen to like line up with the way Colin is singing the chorus, for example, or even like what Deb does, a really cool like thing on the bass as it transitions into the bridge part, and there's a drum fill that kind of complements that as well. So that's where my brain goes to when I'm thinking about what parts to put to a song.
Yeah. Well, actually, so there's a lot to go on there, based on like everything Tristan said. So I guess I'll start with what you were talking about there now. So, when it came to actually, not only these like new songs that had yet to be released, but even like the songs that people knew, like say Jailbreak or something like that, kind of going back to songs that people are already familiar with. Do you find like there was permission, whether that was from the band or even from yourself, self-ordained permission, I guess, to reinterpolate those beats, or were you kind of like, no, I'm just kind of try and make it in line with what people expect?
In the beginning, it was very much a case of going like, look, there's been a previous drummer in the band who has recorded this song and put it out, and I think definitely for the gig in December of 24 with Outcast, I kept things pretty close as possible. I think Jailbreak is a good example actually where I did actually change something almost immediately.
Yeah.
The breakdown of Jailbreak, I added double kick underneath that to give it a bit more kind of like oomph and balls, and this is still a metal tune at the end of the day. Jailbreak has that the reggaeton kind of like thing in the verses, and I wouldn't change it. I think it's a pretty key part of the song, and the chorus goes into more like a straight time feel. But the breakdown has the kind of the cymbal hits in the first half of it, and then it goes into I guess more of an energetic part, and it was hard from the recording that I'd been sent on to know what exactly was going on. So I was just like, I'm just gonna add this. It was in one rehearsal afterwards, and Deb and Tristan kind of like looked at each other and then looked at me and were like, "Oh yeah, I think we like that." So that's been in Jailbreak as long as I've been playing it. Whether it's actually
Yeah.
on the recording is another story.
Yeah. There's a few bits that are like that that are somehow uh I don't like because I like obviously the drums when I demo something they end up getting changed like even like on the older stuff and there's two bits I think in two songs where what Niall ended up doing is actually more like the demo that he's never heard than than the song that came out at the start of like Optical where there's like a big clean like this clean intro and then it kind of comes in with a what I demoed what Niall plays now is like one two three boop, yeah, boop.
Mhm.
And I think on the recording there's like a double kick thing, and I was like, "That's gone." And
Oh yeah,
coming
on the
into yeah,
recording of Optical Worlds, there is coming out of the like the intro into the first verse. There's this kind of like crazy kind of like double kick, like the Mike Portnoy style thing, which is like when we started to rehearse it, I could play it no problem, but I was like, this is going really janky. So I just did just like a simple like thing with the toms and the snare that just is more. It kind of just puts the flow with, especially with like it's more of a on the guitar. It's just kind of like it's just chords, kind of like
yeah,
So it to me in my ear, it was going like that sounds a bit more cohesive than this kind of mad thing that was going on in Optical. But I think as well in Optical is this there that transition as well. We kind of change it up so that like it was more matching what the guitars are doing when it's coming out of that first chorus back into the verse.
yeah. Because like it was just
Yeah.
it was some sort of fill, and there was he's never going to hear this. So, but what Tonchi did was like something there. What I had demoed is like it's a real easy metal thing to do where like it drops down to bass and the guitars and drums come back in. So it's like da 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 da. And I was like, yeah, so it's just stabs. It's just a riff on drums. But instead there was like this big long fill, and it used to like give me such anxiety to play that live because like I hope we're all counting this the same, and we're all going to land back in the verse, and it's going to be really good. But like without hearing the demo, and I was like, well, it stabs because like of course it is. That's the song. I was like, yeah, yeah. Just anything that was like weird and ambiguous. He's like, I'm not doing that.
It wasn't even, yeah, it was maybe unconsciously, it was like, I'm not doing that. But it was just like, it was a lot. It was that big kind of like, like big fill. And as Tristan said, like when, like really, like what the instruments are doing is just like, back down. So, like, my whole thing when it comes to approaching the song is to try and make things like gel with what someone who isn't a musician is going to hear. That like
Yeah.
it's impressive to do these, as I said, like the Mike Portnoy like quads and whatever, like, but like that's only going to impress maybe other drummers.
Yeah.
uh but at the end of the day, we're a band that have to put music out that's going to sound good. And in my brain, like, not necessarily always doubling, but like accenting and matching is in my brain a really great way of like composing drum parts as opposed to like drum fills for the sake of it. I like
Yeah.
there's a lot of on this EP in particular, there is a lot of that, like. And I go back to Filthy Way as the example. There's there's a guitar and bass run at the end of each chorus, like bap boom 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 dum 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 dum. That is, to me, like that's one of those like drum parts that, like, if you looked out into an audience, and hopefully someone knows our tunes and are playing along, you see people doing that because that's a key component of the song, as opposed to it being, I could have done some mad fucking fill there, but there's really no need for that.
Yeah. No, actually, I think that's true. Like, I think, yeah, I think it's like very important to make like like your little instrumentations like whatever your additions are kind of iconic in their own in their own way while still serving the song. You know what I mean? Like I think as you mentioned there, like people kind of like replicating what you're doing is a very good indicator that you're kind of doing it right, in my opinion.
Yeah, like that that's the way I want to approach things. Like, because if you look at, some of those famous like songs of all time, I'm gonna just choose Enter Sandman just as a
Hmm.
very broad example. But there's other ones, like Low, My Hero, Foo Fighters, even like anything from Now Gods, like Ruin, even like the Ruin Phil,
Yeah,
that's obviously the example of the really mad one. But like Enter Sandman, like every drummer picks it up and learns how to play that, but because like that drum beat is iconic,
yeah,
like everyone knows, whether you're a drummer or not, everyone knows the drum beat to Enter Sandman. And I think that kind of like has bled into my philosophy a little bit of going like, I want the drum parts that I am playing to be something that will be catchy in someone's ear, as opposed to going like, oh yeah, he can do this mad fill. Like I can.
yeah,
As I said, I've been playing for 17, 18 years now. Like I've practiced, I've practiced rudiments, I've practiced all the like kind of more technical things. Like I have the ability to play them, but it's like it's a canvas and a toolkit at the end of
yeah.
the day. You have to paint with the appropriate colors to bring the thing you want to portray to life.
I still think the funniest thing I've mentioned this a bunch of times on this podcast, but I still think the best joke a drummer can ever do is like listen intently when collaborating with other people, listen to what they want, listen to the song, act like you're like really like meticulously considering, and then just do the same DB each time. That's
You know,
always
one of my one of my favorite drummers is Mike Mangini,
yeah,
formerly of Dream Theater, but of many other things as well. And what you just said actually is something that he's mentioned over and over again, and is like actually asking what your bandmates want you to play is
yeah.
really, really important. Or like if you're not sure, to say like, here, I've got an idea, what do you think? Or like, what do you want? What do you see as the feel of this part of the song? Or like, what we put in here that would kind of make it better than it is right now?
Yeah, totally. Um, Tristan, I wanted to ask something else based on what you were saying there. You mentioned that the cover art. So if I'm correct, Jade, your partner, does all the cover arts for your project. So
Yeah.
you mentioned that it kind of been locked in even before you start recording. When you have kind of like the aesthetic style kind of like locked in, do you find then that it sort of dictates what the music has to be, or I don't know, how's that work in terms of like the aesthetics of the band and the actual music itself?
Uh, for the EP, it part of it was one of the songs, Relics. It's about Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yep.
I don't know if it's about it, or like it leans very heavily on it. I
Sorry,
only
what's your
caught
favorite ending, by the way, of Evangelion?
oh uh I do like watching like the full on movie because it's so bleak. I love it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it's just like it's like like the the Paul McCartney song that's not Paul McCartney. Like
Yeah.
that real miserable song. It's like that 7 minute, not really Hey Jude, but kind of Hey Jude. I like that. I was like, it's like everything's going to shit. I love it. Um, yeah, and that's why like the artwork, it's made to look like one of the episode title screens. And I think some of the episodes, and definitely the rebuilds, they got really big into this one idea of the title being something with like a word in brackets in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Like the one is like you are brackets not alone.
Yeah.
Um, and they did it a few times, and I was like, this is less clever every time. But the idea there was like it's songs that are like they're out already, and we've been
Yeah.
gigging them. I mean, like they're out as something. So it's like, but you haven't heard them this way. You haven't heard like these recordings of them. So that was like the kind of idea. So like as soon as you're like we're going to do like a re-record EP, and I thought that was going to be like a real good um thing to go with it. And like I mean, the band's called Cell Games. We're kind of an anime band, even though we're not really. But there is like some like we had like our logo has kanji in it, so we are kind of like anime adjacent. Um, so like I think it doesn't affect it too heavily because like the songs kind of were. the way they were, and like the one song was already about the Evangelion. But mainly, it was like I just thought it was a real good play on words, and it's like we have to get this EP done because the cover art's too good not to. And
Yeah.
we were even early days thinking like, well, 3 songs is almost a single, but at that point, we're like, but that's also the only songs we have like not recorded at all. So it's like, oh, we might sometimes Josh does remixes of things. You might get him to like remix one of the ones that's not on here. It's like we could maybe do. I think at one point I was floating the idea like, we do Here's to Your Bones acoustic, even though it's like that doesn't parts of it would work and parts of it wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I think when bands do acoustic stuff and parts of it don't work, it's real lame.
Yeah.
So I was like, ooh, maybe. And I was like none of our stuff translates to that. Like even like I've been calling some of our songs ballads as a joke because they have like maybe because they have like a singy chorus or they have like
I think
clean
that's how you
parts.
described Optical World when we spoke. You think you called it
Uh,
Bally.
and it, like he's not a ballad. It has harmonies in the chorus and a clean part, but like the bridge is like full on heavy. I was like, how like you can't have a screamy bit on it. You can do what you like, but I think a
Yeah.
screamy part on the acoustic version would be a bit lame. But in the interim, then Let's Go to Therapy. Even from the first demo of it, I think it was like a verse and a chorus, or maybe like 2 verses, 2 choruses, and the intro. But it wasn't like fully fleshed out. But even from that, was like, we're like, this is the next one. This is the next thing. We were working on other songs in practice. And we were like, forget those songs. Or we started working the EP. We'd re-recorded Lament. I think like around April. I think and like right here's we're gonna make a start on this EP, and then we were like, fuck this, let's get this one out, get this one done, let's get therapy done, get it written, get it out. This is the one, and that's why that was like the lead single, and as well, it made sense to have like the first completely new song. I think be like the lead single, be like, yeah, there's new music
Yeah.
out, but the rest of it's old new music.
Mhm.
And it still works with the idea like that you like have brackets not heard these songs before because like you wouldn't have heard that one before because it is brand new, and it's very. I think the last single we had out before starting work on the EP was Witches and Bitches, and I
Mhm.
think it's the natural next step in kind of where we're going with how we sound. Because I think like the first maybe even 5 things we ever put out, they all do sound a bit like different bands a little bit. Like
Mhm.
Filthy West almost a grunge song. Like it's grunge adjacent. It's got like a Tool bit in it that a few people did say on tour. They were like, oh, is that like a Tool thing? I was like, yeah, it's a Tool thing. But I thought it'd be cool to like do the bass and guitar doing harmony and spheres. I thought that'd be real cool. And like Relics is like at that point it's like our most electronic you want, and like uh Lament to me is me trying to play a Limp Bizkit song from memory without hearing it. That's kind of how I
Yeah.
wrote. It's like I tried to do a Limp Bizkit song without listening to it. Um,
Was there
so
a
like
specific Limp Bizkit song you were replicating, or was it just the general vibe of Limp Bizkit?
I think I was trying to play something that would sound like Nookie,
Mm.
kinda, but also there was like a non-point song that was like I never learned it, but like it was Pandora's Box. It's got like the longest main riff ever. Like the main riff takes forever to loop around. It's the
Yeah.
full length of a chorus and then it loops around again. Um, so I was like trying to do stuff like that. But even now, like that's been brought in by having like the string parts on it and all like the synths and stuff. It's made it closer to what we're doing. But Let's Go to Therapy was like um I was like, oh, like this could be kind of very Static X-y and kind of Rob Zombie-ish. And that's kind of
Mhm.
what Witches and Bitches was. It was like, oh, this is um like it's like no like anyone's doing new metal now, it's they mean Deftones, really.
Yeah.
Like if people say new metal,
Yeah.
like they mean, oh, we're like Deftones, and it's like Deftones don't want to be new metal anyway. But we're
See, it's funny
we're
because,
much
like, in my
more,
own
yeah,
classification, I actually wouldn't really consider Deftones new metal, but I guess they are. I would consider them like alt metal, which I know it's kind of a nebulous term, but yeah.
yeah, I suppose. But like, you can't say that Back to School is a new metal. Like that's the most,
Yeah.
the most new metal thing I've ever heard.
Yeah,
But
that's
I got
true.
to think it was. I remember actually I was doing like a different podcast, I think last year, and they were like, I was like me and Colin doing it, and they're like, right, best new metal album go, and I was like, oh, it's probably Toxicity. And they were like, that's a rock album. I was like,
Yeah.
what do you want? What do you want me to say?
I think System of a Down exists in their own universe
Yeah,
outside of genre.
yeah. But the Rob Zombie kind of Rob Zombie, but not White Zombie. People have said White Zombie to us, and I've gone like, I need to give
Mm,
White Zombie a go, and I gave them a go, and it's like, I don't like this. I like
really?
more Human than Human. I like the cool slide guitar from the
Yeah.
ECW song, and the rest of it, I'm like, this isn't as good as Rob Zombie on his own. But that kind of like almost half industrial sort of thing, where like
Yeah.
it's like
Mhm.
like the Blade soundtrack kind of
Yeah.
metal, like Matrix metal, I guess.
No, Blade
Like
came
that's
first. So, like,
oh yeah,
I think the Matrix overshadowed Blade, but Blade set the foundation.
yeah. That's kind of the way we're going, and even on the UK tour we just did,
Yeah.
um, like I was like the way I described it is like my phone became the car because it's real
Yeah.
novel to me that you can Bluetooth your whole phone into a car. Like my car, you can't do that. My car's from 2008. So I was put like add daily mix on and put that on, and my phone was like, you know, if Spotify does this where it's like, oh, you love these 20 songs, don't you? I was like, yeah, I guess I do. I guess I love these 20 songs for 5 days. But it was playing like entire Static X albums and entire Rob Zombie albums. And it was very like, oh, this is what you were doing, is it? It's like, yeah, it's what I was
Yeah.
doing. Even when we were doing the Siege with Nico last year, when we're stuck for time in the set, we do a cover of Push It by Static X. I don't think we need to anymore. I think we've got enough songs to not.
Yeah,
This is like
done it for a while.
yeah, this was a group
It's a
chat. This is a
ritual.
group chat discussion. But like for that one, we thought we had like half an hour, and they're like, "You got 40 minutes." I was like, "Well, like Nico's not in the band; he doesn't know 40 minutes of our music." So I was like, "Oh, can you learn the Static X song?" And he hadn't heard it. And he listened to it. He was like, "Oh, I see what you're doing now." It's like, "Yeah, yeah." But I think like that's a bit more where we're going than like for everyone's like they say they're new metal, but they mean Deftones, or they mean 3 songs of Chocolate Starfish. That's what they
Yeah,
mean by new
like
metal.
when we did Siege, you actually should tell the story, Tristan, because you were actually more involved. I got the second hand, but you're one when we who was asking us, oh, what kind of stuff do you do? And you were like, oh, it's new metal.
Well, yeah, Colin was saying he was talking to one of the lads from one of the bands on another stage. I was like, we're second, I was like, oh, you were playing earlier. Like, what's your stuff? He's like, oh, we're kind of new metal. And he's like, oh, and he's like, oh, well, more like Faith No More. Oh. Oh, Colin means like he wants to be in Faith No More. We used to do a Faith No More cover as well. And everyone hated it.
Which
Like,
song was it? I used to love Fate No More as a teenager.
uh, Land of Sunshine.
Oh yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
I think we did it on like 3 gigs, I think.
Yeah.
And very quickly, like Kibosh was put on that, even though I think it's great.
Yeah.
But like Deb hates playing it. She says like it's physically like hard, like and boring to play. Uh, Jade doesn't like it, but I'm like I think it's great. Um, so I'm campaigning to bring that one back because like
Yeah.
Connor will
Yeah,
do
he's been out canvassing for that one now.
it.
I remember as like a teenager, I was like huge into Fate No More, and I was like, oh, I think these are like, the most versatile band. And then I kind of like, as I got a little older, I was like, well, they really have like two. It's like the slow, ballady piano led tracks, and then the kind of just aggressive as fuck kind of screaming metal, Mike Patton, deep throating the microphone kind of thing.
What more do you need though?
Yeah,
Great
no, I'm
stuff.
not. I'm not complaining. It's great. It is great
Yeah.
stuff. No, I actually my favorite album was always. It's funny because like people talk about like like they're like like Angel Dust and things like that. But like for me, I was always like huge into King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime. That one was like my favorite one. The one with the dog on the cover. That was always my favorite. I used to listen to that one like so much, and yeah, I
That's the
just
most I think the most unfiltered Mike Patton I think is on that. Like the most like
yeah, I know. That's
the
the
most
thing. I
like
loved
Mike's in the
it.
band now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or like Mike's in
it
the
was
band now.
fucking
Let's go.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
I also want to ask one more thing, Tristan, just about kind of collaborations on this record. You mentioned earlier Josh Robinson, who you've worked with throughout the lifespan of this band. Yeah, how does Josh kind of like is he like an extra set of ears in terms of like what you're doing next in terms of like what's your relationship like as like a producer band kind of combo because I think it actually is quite important to have an engineer that kind of gets what you're doing, is sympathetic to what you're doing, and can collaborate. Is it collaborative, or is he just very much like, that's what you're doing now? Okay.
He's very, like he doesn't shut down any of our stuff. Like we don't get in there and he's like, oh, you're doing a double chorus now. But and like he kind of he's works with us enough that he knows what we're doing, and I think he's probably figured out all my little tricks that I do, all my like it's the little songwriting thing. Because I think I was at a gig and I said like this is what's going to happen, and the band came in and like they're going to do 4 rounds of the riff, then they're going to do 4 rounds of the riff again, but there's a high sound on top of it, and then the verse is
Mhm.
going to come in. And so like he knows what we're doing, but he's very good at kind of facilitating some of our ideas. Like, or like I think he'll get kind of straight away like what I mean. Like sometimes like on demos and stuff, I think I had like a string thing on my configuration, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well I can do that like but good instead." Or like he was very hands on with the drums in that one. I think because the way the song
Yeah.
is, it's just because like the way I demoed it initially, it stops before every section. Like it's very in chunks, so we were able to like really like dig in and do like a load of fills. And I remember we spent ages with him being like, make the hi-hat lift bigger, bigger, like more obvious
Yeah,
hi-hat
he
lift.
was very particular about well things like that, which thought was great. Like, Josh is a fantastic producer and engineer, and he is he's actively listening at even as we're tracking to go like, oh, okay, it needs this. Like, there's one particular the way the first verse of the main configuration ends, where like the snare hits the hi-hat and the hi-hat opens, but he was like, do that, but just like leave the hi-hat open for like a bit longer. Like those kind of like little things was like, ah, yeah, that's the one. Like, just because sonically that's gonna sound the best, and he hears that in his head, but he has to communicate to me to play that.
Yeah.
He did stuff. I remember there's one in Witches and Bitches as well. The song was the way it was when you brought it to him, and I think one of the first things was the intro to that song, like the sample at the start. It's a sample from Pink Flamingos, and the way I had been doing it since the song was written was like it was like 17 uninterrupted seconds of a bit from Pink Flamingos, and we're like, well, one, I think this is against the law. I didn't ask him.
You get
I
sued
didn't
by
ask him.
John Waters.
Yeah, it's a good John Waters, but still don't want to get sued by him.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. To make that distinction.
yeah, yeah. But it was like I was like as well, like it kind of like I was like live this kind of works, but it's like people are going to skip 17 seconds of this thing. So we cut that down, and he was able to like I was like, oh yeah, half it sounded like we was fucked up. We did stuff to it, but there's a bit then in the chorus comes in, and there's like the big vocal harmonies, and then it goes into the big halftime bit in the chorus, and he did, and like it's like he didn't invent this trick, but we didn't like hadn't thought to do it of coming. I think like I think it's literally like a beat at the end, like so like on the third beat, everything's just cut for one and comes back in, and it sounds huge, and like that's in the song now because he did that. And I was like, that's like anything he does like that, it's always like, yeah, that's in the song now. You're right. He lets me do all my my silly stuff as well. Even though I think when we did the EP, we did like 3 songs in 2 days, but it was kind of a day and a half because I wasn't there for the first half of it. So it was like very like trying to squish stuff in. And I was like trying to do all my joke ideas. And everyone was like, come on, can you stop? like
Yeah, yeah.
we can do it tomorrow. And but because my joke idea is always like, oh, I figured out this part in like an Iron Maiden harmony. I'd like but like it's not good. You're not going to do it. What are you doing it for? I was like, no, but I have to get it out. And then sometimes it'll make it in. There's stuff on a song where I wanted to do like a System of a Down theme guitar, this kind of like single note, like ganka gada 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 gada.
Yeah.
I was like, oh Josh, I got an idea. And then another one, and I was like, Josh, I got an idea. And like I stacked it up like into a chord, and it was like a Muse song. But it's like it didn't stop me and go like, no, that's enough. And sometimes you should.
There
You
was
ever
one
find
point
that?
I forget what song it was on, but they were Josh had like a tuner up on the screen, and for whatever reason they Tristan and Josh just decided to take, I think it was a lament, but they decided to like I think it was down to like G or something, and just like
Oh
really
yeah.
like low tune, just like like gent it out, and Tristan was there like, oh, this is great. And like they spent another like 5 minutes on that. And I think Deb and I were just like, no, please.
Some of some of that made it in as well because I think you tried it like a full octave down because I was like, I want to be in low, I want to have my baritone that's really bass, and we did like the heavy guitars an octave down, and I was like, put that in there as well. And I don't do it live. I have like in my board, I have an octave on there, but I think I put the octave on, Deb's like, get out of there. That's not for you. But like it's there is like kind of octave stuff, and I kill like try stuff like that because you can kind of hear it's like, oh, this is something that should have that effect on it. Um, he will stop some of my worst ideas. There's one that's like, oh, I want to do whammy stuff. I want to do a third guitar part that's doing whammies, and it's like, no, because you're just gonna have to give out that you play it live anyway. So, yeah,
But
yeah,
even like in Josh being like that, like kind of like collaborative, where like he'll maybe indulge, but then later go like, actually, no, that sounded really shit. Like I think was it for therapy, Tristan, where basically we're just like, let's just rip Austin if not, and to have a little like marching snares in the
oh
background
yeah.
in the for
Every snare in the studio, yeah.
literally it was like just drop it, and if it's shit, it's shit. But let's just see, it could be the best thing we've ever done. But I was just like, oh, we're ripping off Slipknot enough anyway with this breakdown. Let's see what we can
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. I think the issue was like it didn't sound like Anthem. We tried it. It was like, oh, it'd be so cool to do like every possible snare and like layer them up. But I think when one person does the same part over and over again, it it's like it's too tight and it doesn't sound like Anthem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there probably was not enough difference in that natural timing that even if you're on the click, someone's going to be slightly ahead, slightly behind, or whatever. That
Yeah.
it didn't create that marching sound from psychosocial that I had in my brain. But Josh indulged anyway for 10 minutes, so he was like, just let him get it out. It's fine.
Yeah. Sometimes he has these ideas as well that he wants to. He's had an idea and he's waiting for someone to come in that weekend to do it. Like on
Yeah.
Optical World, there is. I think it's every snare hit. Um, it's like a snare out in the hallway where it's like really big, just like sample that. And I think he even did it by like getting this, like recording it on his phone, taking the audio from that, and just like layering in this like slightly degraded, really reverby snare. But I think that's, I don't know if he heard that in the song or if he's like, I want to try this and you're here now. So, so we're going to do it. But I say let him.
I just want to ask one final thing, but just sort of sticking with Josh, because you said there, like, he knows your tricks. Do you think that will ever kind of make you, as a songwriter, like, try new things because you're like, I want to fucking impress Josh. He thinks he knows me. I want to like try something new that he'll not, won't expect.
There is a bit in something we're working on where there's a break of like a bar and a half instead of 2 bars. But I have a feeling he's going to like immediately see that and be like, "Oh yeah, you got that from here." I'm like, "Yeah, fine." Uh, yeah, I think as well, like with what we're doing, I'm not trying to do anything mad avant-garde. I think like there's
Sure.
2 bits maybe in our set that are kind of funny. Like one is "Here's to Your Bones," the chorus is in 7,
Yeah.
but it's not like a proggy 7. It's kind of like it's in 7 the same way Them Bones is in 7,
Yeah.
where like unless you have to play it or count it out, it doesn't sound like I'm doing anything. And then there's a bit, the bridge of
I
Optical
disagree.
World.
Like I think
Uh,
them bones you can hear the time signature in my opinion.
yeah, I suppose, but it doesn't feel like they're being like, oh, they're being like it still sounds like a song. It's not just like an
Yeah.
exercise in doing like more notes or less notes. It still sounds like it sounds wonky, but still sounds like a big riff. And then
Sure.
we have a bit in Optical World, the bridge. I think it's technically all in 4. It all fits into 4 because I programmed it that way. Like the grid never changed, but the accents go funny.
I'm getting deja vu.
The
You talked about
accents
this
are in
last
this
time.
weird kind of like it's not exactly a polyrhythm, but it's kind of it kind of mimics as if it's in 3/4, but it's not. The
Okay.
way the
Yeah,
accents kind of like go. There is one bit where it's like da 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 ba, which I think actually is in 6, unintentionally, or
yeah.
it's either like it's the Tristan Carroll trick of a bar and a half, you know.
You know, I
But
know what that is. I know what that was. I meant to do a long bit additionally, but when I programmed, I didn't leave space for the additional part of the bar. So I was like, this is the riff now. The riff is missing. And I was like,
Yeah,
that's
but
cool.
you know, it works out. It's just one of those. It's just one of those little like musical like tricks that like we're not actually doing anything like super, complicated. We're not trying to be Tool here, even though we've ripped off a few bits.
Yeah.
I love how most artists would say, "Oh, we're inspired by Tool or we're inspired by East Coast." Now we're just like plagiarizing.
Yeah, I mean, like
Inspired,
they
but
don't
totally
own.
inspired.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
They
Yeah,
don't they
yeah,
don't
yeah.
they don't own doing like the guitar and bass in fifths, but also I think it is only in that, and it's only in Schism. Like
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else does it. So I'm like, well, now two songs have it, and we wrote one of them.
Yeah, it's like if you write a book and you use the letter I, do you owe royalties to Shakespeare? Kind of, yeah. Thanks
Yeah,
very much for your time, guys. It was lovely chatting with you. The EP
you
is out
too.
today as we're speaking. I'll try and get this up before, like in and around Christmas or before New Year's. I guess the final thing I'll just wrap with is now the like. Well, actually, first of all, is it surprising you, Tristan, like considering how long the band's been around? That's like that this was your first EP. I know you've done waterfall releases beforehand, but to have the first EP would take this long, did you envision that, or is this about right for you?
I think it makes sense because I think we were very much like singles, and like doing that. We were kind of on the verge of doing what a lot of people do is like I get why people do it. Like it's not the way it used to be, and like people do it because of the way people consume music now. But they put
Yeah.
out 7 or 8 singles, and then after the eighth one, go like, and that was an album the whole time, by the way, guys. And like they just like redo it
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
with the album artwork, and like or like put one new song, go like, oh no, that's an album,
yeah.
and it's like, but you didn't do it as an
I've
album
heard
now.
all
But we were,
this. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but we were close to doing something like that. But I think the EP is a more concise version of doing that. We might start grouping stuff into EPs again because we have a bunch of stuff in the works. And I don't think we've had stuff in the works at the same time as much before. I think we'd always had like we would have the set as it exists and we'd be like, right, what's getting recorded next? But we've never had like a bunch of concurrent songs being written because I think at the start of the band there was 4 songs written and then like people came in and learned them and then we just add 1 or 2 new ones in here and there. But we've never been actively doing as much new music. So we might lean into doing EPs, or this might be a big disaster and we'll do singles again.
And the fun thing I'll ask before I wrap up is, I know you're doing a gig tonight with Pretty
Oh
Limited
no,
and Shallow. Oh, is that
no,
that thing?
this is changed. This is all changed.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter because it's coming out in the future anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah, so there was like a whole booking thing where the gig's not happening tonight
Okay.
because of just like stuff at the venue and like Christmas stuff being on. So we were doing it next week, which could be in the past anyway by the time people hear
No,
this.
sure. I'll
But
try and
yeah,
hit it.
yeah.
What's the new date? Because I'll try and
And
book that then.
oh yeah, it's the 19th
Oh,
in
perfect. Yeah.
Jake,
Okay.
yeah, in Jacobs, which I think is on
Perfect.
Talbot Street. I can
Jacobson.
find out. Yeah, I can
Yeah,
find out before I go there.
it's an interesting
Pretty
venue.
limited
I've
can't make
worked
it.
there before,
Yeah.
and it's an interesting one because yeah, it's like in a hostel. It's just off. Do you know the just where Bus Arts is, just up the alley there, just past the guard station.
Oh yeah, vaguely. I'm gonna
Yeah.
find out. But yeah, it's
Basically,
pretty
if you
limited.
want
Couldn't make it.
directions, just
Yeah,
get off the Bus Arts Lewis stop. You'll be
yeah,
there.
yeah. And the lineup has changed a bit. Pretty limited couldn't do this one,
Okay.
which is fair because it's nearly Christmas. But I don't know how you say it because I've only seen it written down. I think it's Dux A Rex.
Dux
Oh, that's
Rex,
right.
yeah. The
Yeah,
Latin, yeah, Dux Rex. That's yeah, Nancy's new band.
yeah. They're on the bill now. Same and Shallow. Um,
Perfect.
so that'll be as good, if not better. And brownies for the first 50 people to come in. Niall's husband's
Perfect.
making brownies.
Oh, brownies. What's in the recipe?
I think it is probably chocolate brownies. I don't think there's going to be any additional ingredients.
Well, let's not say no. We want to entice people to go to the gig, but potentially, yeah. But we also don't want to get you in legal trouble. So at least chocolate,
Yeah, at least,
and
and maybe at most.
yeah, maybe a
Yeah,
month, maybe a nut or two if you're lucky.
yeah.
Um, and finally, what's Cell Games plans for 2026, the year of our Lord 2026?
Uh, Immediately before 2026, we are playing in Belfast for the first time. So the
Oh shit, I'll get
27th of
that too.
December. Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
we're playing at Aftermath. It's a festival up in Belfast that
Yeah.
I think Survivalist, Gavin Survivalist, like has a big hand in it. So we're playing at the Saturday of that. I think we're the first band from the Republic to play that festival as well. It's
Oh,
normally just
sick.
like it's normally like northern bands and like some UK guys will fly in, but we're the first. I think Words That Burn are from the Republic, but they're playing after us, so we're still the first to play. But we're doing that, and then next year we're kind of laying low-ish for the start of the
Okay.
year because we got to do some admin. We got to like get these songs written and recorded, and um like got to get like new press shots because we did like a bunch of press stuff at the start of at the start of like the new lineup, and that was a year ago now. Um, so we got to just got like do like all the bits, right, all the stuff. In May, we're heading back over to the UK. We're playing Call of the Wild. We don't know beyond that what we're doing. Um, and we've nothing definitely in place yet for the rest of the year. But we have medium to large plans.
I think it'd be very fitting with your band if you just use old press shots, but just like Photoshop Niall in.
That was an idea at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would
Yeah,
actually work. It's just like
yeah,
badly cropped in,
yeah. There's a
different
music video that
different color temperature and all. Sorry.
yeah, there's a music video that never got finished. And it's like it still hasn't come out. And I was like, we can't use this because like it's not that's not even the band anymore. There's different people
Yeah.
in the band. But it's like, what if we like really not creatively, like really badly, just like change all the shots where it's drums? It's like that would take
That
too
would
long and look bad.
that happened to me one time. I did an article on a band, and the PR company gave me like an out of date press shot, and the person contacted me from the band. It's like, hey, this isn't our band anymore, so I had to like change everything all of a sudden, like last minute. I was like, oh, I'm sorry,
Uh,
that's what the PR gave me. I'm sorry. So yeah, it happens. Oh.
um, kind of for 26, so last month we did a couple of nights in the UK with one of our DC Sound Attack counterparts, Straight for the Sun. So kind of as a result of that, we've made a lot of contacts over there. We're kind of working with DC to bring us over again later in the year, even around Call of the Wild. We're thinking of maybe doing a couple of nights, maybe 2 or 3 nights additionally in some other cities with some of the bands that we met along the way. So, DC and Cell Games are kind of planning for the back half of 26. So hopefully as the year progresses for the first couple of months, we'll be starting to put things in place and hopefully making announcements as well later in 26.
Perfect. So stay tuned. TBC at the moment, but
Hmm.
stay tuned. And the fun thing I'll ask is there anything you guys like that before I wrap up? Anything I failed to cover? And if you want to plug where people can find you and all that, the EP is out today as we speak. But yeah,
Yeah, we're all like the usual places, up to and including TikTok, which we suck at doing, but we're on there.
so do I.
Um,
I haven't updated
we
in a year.
we need to get better at doing it, but like I don't look at it in my spare time. I don't know what people are doing on there. But like we're on all the socials. Instagram's a big one.
Mm.
We're on all the streaming things. Everyone's on different streaming stuff now. I don't know the names of all of them. We're on ones I've never heard of. Um,
Title. Yeah.
title. These are Amazon Music, maybe. I don't know.
Yep.
Like, there's so many, but we're on. As far as I know, we're on all of them. I tick the boxes for all of them, so it should be. Um, and then yeah, if you're around and not doing your work Christmas thing on the 19th of December, come to Jacob's. If you're in Belfast on the 27th, go to the Limelight and at either of those buy a t-shirt because they're
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
we have t-shirts available for folks to buy. So you can buy them at the gigs. You can contact the band directly. or if you know any of us, you can contact us too, and we will happily give you a t-shirt for our prescribed fee.
Do you
Yeah.
guys actually sell them on Bandcamp? That's like where people like sell all
Uh,
Uh,
their merch.
we with the first round of t-shirts we ever did, I think we did it on Bandcamp, and then I just found it real annoying to do
Yeah.
because I think the way it's you have to like, manually go in and change the sizes that are available every time. I don't think it doesn't treat the sizes as separate, so I have to go in and update the description of the sizes every time. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I I don't I don't want to like charge people like 26.70 for like because it's €20 and then we'll get wherever the shipping is, and I won't know the shipping until you buy it. I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. Just come to the gig, or if you're close enough, like I'll come find you.
Perfect. Thanks very much for your time, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All
It was
right.
lovely
Cheers.
chatting with
Thanks
you
so
Thank
again.
you.
much. Good meeting
Thanks so much.
Take care of
Bye-bye.
yourself, fellas.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to that episode of Post-Burnout.com interviews. We're available wherever you get your podcasts, so we hope that you enjoyed and would consider subscribing, giving it a like on YouTube, or a rating anywhere else. We also have some exclusive episodes only available on Spotify, which features interviews with the likes of Kim Deal, Ron Mail of Sparks, Jacob Slater of Wonder Horse, Maria Kelly, Gavin Friday, and many more. So check those out if you're so inclined. Otherwise, thank you for listening and see you next time.